Hello, everyone. My name is Caitlin Lee. I am the Health and Safety Manager for Fort Smith Mill. I appreciate you joining me. I'm not one to record my voice very often, so please bear with me. This is our Fort Smith Mill. We are about 211 acres. We use about 114 of it for production. We'll go through the restricted areas, the areas that are open to everyone, and more maps further on into the orientation. This is our current safety department. Again, my name is Caitlin Lee. I have been out here for a total of 10 years now in 2025. So, been out here for a minute. My previous life, I was an ER and ICU critical care nurse, so I bring that to the table as well. Hopefully, you never need my skills, but I am out here if needed. We've got Jeremiah Sharp, safety specialist in 2025. He just met his 22 years out here at the mill as well. So, again, very experienced out here. And we have Myra Gonzalez. She is our occupational health and safety nurse. She has been doing this for a total of 13 years now. So again, hopefully you never need our services, but we are certainly here if you need us. Those are our cell phone numbers. We keep those on us at all times. We're on call 24/7, so please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Those are also our emails, should you need those. Security can be reached at 5590 or directly at 479-648-5590. Our core value is safety above all. It requires everybody to be safe out here. I certainly can't be everywhere, and you certainly don't need your handheld. So, safety is everyone's responsibility, and our goal is to have zero accidents. Unfortunately, sometimes there are individuals that don't follow our protocols, and we have removed them from site. We don't like doing that. You have a job to do, and we need you to do that job. So, hopefully, you will choose to go along with our requirements, and we will be safe moving forward. Our controlling documents, of course, we abide by OSHA. We have also sat down with your companies and decided a safety management standard between you, what you expect from us, what we expect from you. Most of that goes through ISNet World. And then also we have our Fort Smith plant policies and procedures. If you've ever been to another Gerdau mill, we all have a little bit different safety requirements. With us being the last remaining rotary caster, ours is quite a bit different from other mills, say Midlothian, Texas, or Monroe, Michigan. So we'll go through more of that again throughout this training. Then, of course, applicable business and manufacturer standards. We do have a code of ethics. We certainly want everyone to do what is right all the time in decision-making, behavior, or actions. If you want to learn more about our code of ethics and conduct, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. I can get you that link, but we're open book. As far as compliance with our service providers, again, we expect you and you should expect from us positive ethics and behaviors, respect, and then no conflicts of interest. We certainly want to comply with all those laws and regulations. So again, if you ever have any concerns, we do have an ethics hotline. I will be happy to get that information to you should you need it, but hopefully we don't have any issues there. And again, should you have any emergency, incident, accident, anything like that, please always report it. Near misses as well. Our main security, again, can be contacted at 479-648-5590. Our in-plant phone number, you can hit 0 and that'll go directly to them. Please let your employer notify your employer of any incident or accident as well, and then let us know so that we can hopefully block that action so that nothing happens to anybody further, and also get you the appropriate medical treatment if needed. We have first aid stations on our facility, and we've got in-plant first responders and EMTs 24/7. These are nationally certified EMTs and LPNs, and then also Myra and myself, should you need us. But there is medical 24/7. Anything further, we do transport out to whatever your contracting company designates as your medical facility if needed. On-site driving, our plant speed limit is 12. I know that's a little odd, but it sticks with people. Please watch for moving trucks and vehicles. Again, we do have several restricted areas, our scrap yards, logistics yards, rail, things like that. And again, I'll go through more maps in a minute. Please park in only designated areas. Don't park in front of bay doors, tanks, things like that. Also, do not park on train tracks. We'll talk about the cardinal safety rule of rail safety in a minute, but 25 feet around all rail cars is considered our red zone, so we ask that you stay out of that area. We are a drug and alcohol-free workplace. No smoking or tobacco within the entire facility, and then no firearms allowed on property. If there is a need to evacuate, we ask that you do not leave site, that you go to our muster point so that we can take roll and make sure that you are safe. Those muster points are located on that top right map. One here at the admin building, one behind receiving. Most of our contractors are going to report to that one behind receiving. There's one at the end of the road at gate 4 down by logistics. There's one across the street in the gravel parking lot near Straightener and Bar Turner 3, one at the end of the admin parking lot, and then one up by the new scale house out on 45. In the case of severe weather, please make sure that you know where your closest tornado shelter is. This bottom right map shows all of our tornado shelters. These are marked by very large glow-in-the-dark signs. So again, whenever you get to your work area, please make sure that you note your closest tornado shelter. We have an emergency alert system. You're welcome to join it. It is completely free to you. You would just text JOIN in all capital letters to that phone number. It will always come from that phone number. That is a local number, so you can save it as like Gerdau emergency or something like that. The only people that are allowed to send out notifications through this is in safety, so you're not going to get spammed or anything like that. I send out generally 2 messages per year checking the system, and otherwise any other communication would be for severe weather or, God forbid, active shooter, anything like that. Anything in this red zone, we are on high alert for weather activity. It takes us about 20 minutes to safely shut our mill down. So anything in that red zone, we are on high alert and ready to shut down should we need to. We do have weather alerts throughout the facility, alarms that we will set off. But otherwise, should you need a fire extinguisher, we have them all throughout the facility. Please do not hesitate to use them. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Our only request is that you don't hide the fire extinguisher. It's not a bad thing that you used it. Please leave it out so that we can get it changed out for the next use. PPE requirements. We require an ANSI hard hat with a chin strap. If you don't have a chin strap, please don't panic. We have them in the storeroom, and then security has them as well. Safety glasses with side shields. Certain tasks require more, but they do have to be clear inside. We do permit tinted safety glasses outside, but if you come into the building, you would have to switch over to a clear glass. Appropriate shirt with long sleeves. Pants need to be in good condition. Steel-toed safety shoes high enough to protect your ankle. Appropriate gloves for the task you're doing. High-vis vest outside, and FR jackets inside or FR uniforms inside. Earplugs need to be worn in all active buildings. Head or beard hair longer than shoulder length needs to be tied back, tucked in, or otherwise secured. And then all vehicles need to have a strobe light on them once they are brought in past the main parking lots. Some other PPE options, if you're doing any welding or cutting, we require a face shield, and then hood and leathers or FR clothing. Working with concrete, gloves, rubber boots, face shields, on the concrete hose, and then electrical flash gear if necessary. Obviously, this does not include every type of PPE that could ever be used. It is your responsibility to have and use the proper PPE for your task, but we do have extra PPE if it needs to be borrowed from security. No exposed jewelry. Hand injuries are by far our most common injury at the mill. So please, no exposed jewelry, rings, watches, etc. We do allow medical alert necklaces or bracelets, but those also need to be tucked in and put away to prevent that entanglement hazard. This band does include rubber or silicone wedding bands. We are dealing with lots of high heat, and we certainly don't want anything to melt one of those bands. Please dress appropriately for the weather, conditions, and then potential safety hazards that may arise with what you will be doing. It does get very hot within our mill, so please don't be wearing wool sweaters or anything under your uniforms. Now, I am going to ask if anyone is squeamish. Please look away. I will let you know when it is permitted to look back. I am going to show a pretty graphic photo, but I think the message behind it will really reinforce why we do not allow exposed jewelry. So again, if you are squeamish, please look away and I will tell you when you can look back. This is why we do not allow visible jewelry. This is a degloving injury caused by a ring avulsion. It does not take a lot of effort to do this damage. And unfortunately, those fingertips cannot be saved. Those fingers are amputated and just lost at that point. So if you looked away and you were squeamish, you can look back now. The picture is gone. Moving on, environmentally, housekeeping out here is everyone's responsibility. There are a lot of people working in every area, so please clean up as you go. We do lots of different waste segregations, many different receptacles. Most of them are located in the storeroom, or you can contact our environmental manager, Dale Fentress. Certain metals can be melted. We can also segregate those, general trash in our trash dumpsters. We've got different recycling receptacles for cardboard, cans, paper, plastic, batteries. If you are going to use the battery receptacles, they have to be taped on each end and placed in appropriately marked containers. If you don't know where those are, don't hesitate to reach out to one of us in safety or again, our environmental manager, Dale Fentress. Our spill prevention, control, and countermeasures plan. Any kind of oil is including but not limited to petroleum, fuel oil, oil refuse, oil mixed with other things. So we've got to make sure that we handle that appropriately. If there is a spill or you notice a spill, please report it. Immediately notify the environmental manager, your immediate supervisor, or somebody in the Gerdau maintenance. If you can't get a hold of them, please let somebody in safety know. We have 2 main spill response contractors, EMA, and then also our more local pro-rooter. If you have any sort of hazardous materials, please store them properly. Only bring on site what you are required to do to complete that task. So if you need a 5-gallon of something, please don't bring 25 gallons of it. Make sure that the materials are properly labeled and in the appropriate containers. Any sort of hazardous waste will be managed according to our Fort Smith plant requirements. If you're not sure what to do, again, just call our environmental manager, Dale Fentress. Any sort of chemical that you bring on site, you must provide a current SDS for that chemical to the safety department, again, either before or immediately upon arrival. We've got to make sure that that goes into our system and we handle it appropriately. These are our cardinal safety rules. Unfortunately, when we have a serious incident or accident, it is a violation of one of these rules almost 100% of the time. So lockout, tagout, tryout. You will follow the lockout, tagout policies and procedures to control hazardous energy sources and verify the sources at 0 energy state. You are responsible for doing that. Please don't trust somebody else's lock. You perform your own lock, try it out, and verify before you perform that work. Fall protection, anything above 4 feet requires some sort of fall protection. Material handling, if you are going to operate Gerdau equipment, Gerdau would need to train you in how to operate that equipment. It will also be conducted in a safe manner at all times. Rail safety, you will follow all rail safety procedures, including yielding to locomotives and avoiding the red zone, except where proper 3-step protection is provided. And then confined spaces, I will enter a confined space required only if trained and authorized. Written procedures will be followed at all times. And then safety devices, you will not defeat, remove, ignore, or render inoperable a safety device or guard. And we'll talk about each one of these in more detail. Again, it is ultimately the responsibility of every contractor to ensure that proper training and lockout tagout is performed before starting their work. That is your responsibility. Again, do not work under somebody else's locks. If you're asked to work on any item that has the potential for an energy source, a lockout tagout must be performed. That can include anything from electrical, mechanical, pneumatic, hydraulic, spring, swinging counterweights, etc. If you're not trained in how to do a lockout tagout, do not perform the work. If you're not sure whether something needs a lockout tagout, please ask. We would much rather come down and help you perform that lockout than deal with a negative aftermath. If a lock needs to be removed, do not remove it without prior permission. If we cannot get a hold of the individual who owns the lock, or if they're not present, there is a lock removal procedure and documentation that we must perform before that lock is removed. Confined space entry, we do not have non-permit required spaces out here. All confined space entries must have a confined space permit. And a confined space is defined as large enough and so configured that an employee can bodily enter and perform work, has limited or restricted means of entry or exit, and is not designed for continuous occupancy. We have on-site air quality monitors. If you need those, reach out to somebody in safety. And again, these are very well marked danger confined space. Guards and warning signs. You will follow all warning signs while on our facility. These different signs are going to talk about hazards and the different PPE that you would need. Do not remove machine guards without prior authorization. And then any sort of portable tool that requires a guard and handle will have them on at all times. Do not bring or use tools that have been modified. Red or danger tape, when it is used, it is essentially a giant lockout tagout. So all the entrances will be taped off. The red barricade placards will be affixed to that tape, and the back of that placard will be completed. So what is happening in the area, who's permitted to be in that area. No excuses, no exceptions. Yellow is a little bit different. It's more like a caution, be aware. Again, all the areas need to be roped off. Backside of it needs to be filled out. But again, if you have to cross that, please review that placard and then make the decision. Excavations. Please do not enter an excavation that is unsafe. All excavations need to be inspected by a qualified person before each shift. There is an excavation permit that is required. If you don't know if an excavation is safe, please ask. Trenches and excavations are one of the top 3 killers of construction workers, and we certainly don't want anything like that out here. Mobile equipment. Again, you will not operate any mobile equipment that is owned or rented by Gerdau unless Gerdau has trained you or authorized you to do so. If a contractor needs a piece of mobile equipment, you are expected to provide your own. Anything that you provide, you are responsible for doing. Inspecting the equipment when it reaches the project site, performing a daily inspection before its use, be trained in the proper use of it, reporting the equipment deficiencies for repair, provide spotters in tight places, and ensure safe operation of the equipment at all times. Crane operations. Anytime you're using a crane or excavation equipment, inspect it daily before use. Make sure you're using those proper hand signals when lifting or working with the equipment. Make sure that you're trained in how to operate that specific equipment. Proper rigging of loads in proper configurations is required. Use a spotter when moving equipment in tight spaces. Proper barricades need to be placed around the swing radius. No loads will be lifted over any workers at any times. The signal person should ensure the path of the lift is clear before making the lift. Signaling the lift is started by either having the crane blow its horns, whistles, or air horns so that the employees know that the lift has started. Seat belts are required. We consider that a safety device. Do not bypass or fasten them behind the operator. No excuses, no exceptions. Fall protection is required anytime there's a potential for a fall injury. So areas without handrails, boom lifts and scissor lifts, roofs and roof openings, etc. Anytime an employee is 4 feet or higher, some sort of fall protection is required. There are a few exceptions, but safety and maintenance look at these on a case-by-case basis. Fall protection is required within 6 feet of any ledge, so pits, roof edges, unprotected platforms. All employees will utilize a full body harness with a lanyard or other fall restraint device. Anchorage points must withstand a 5,000-pound jerk high enough to prevent impact to a lower level. And then recommended distance from tie-off point to impact zone is at least 18.5 feet when using a lanyard. Employees need to inspect their harness every time they use it for cuts, damage to components, and proper fit. If it's damaged, please remove it from its surface and get another harness. Scaffolding. We don't use these out here very much, but if we do, they need to be constructed by a competent person, tagged to its condition, and inspected each shift. There are 2 different color tags that can be used. Green is 100% safe and doesn't require any special conditions. Red is unsafe for being constructed. So no personnel is allowed on this scaffolding except trained scaffold builders. Although it's tagged, it is the responsibility of the user to review the tag and check to make sure that there aren't any changes or unsafe conditions. If an unsafe condition is found, please report it immediately. Work platforms for the purpose of holding materials do not need to be tagged as long as no employees will be climbing onto the platform. Trespassing. You are only allowed to be on our facility during your assigned work hours. You need to be accounted for and stay within those areas assigned to the project. If you enter the plant site without permission, you can be removed for trespassing. Anytime you come on site, we need to have a record that you are here. So please either sign in or use an access badge once you complete this orientation and it's deemed that you require an access badge. Now, to really get into those permission entry areas, there are some areas that we require you to call ahead before you enter. So if you're not sure whether you need to, call security. If you know that you're about to enter the scrapyard or the logistics areas, those phone numbers are posted, but they are there as well. Okay, so to get into this top left-hand corner, this blue line up here is Planters Road. So we're looking at kind of the back side of our plant. This is our A and B bay crane. That is going to be a logistics bar yard area. Lots of crane movement, lots of forklift movement, so it is permission entry. Our logistics kind of entry bay here is also a permission entry, but you can go from Planters Road all the way around back here to receiving that I'll show you in a minute. As long as you stay on this main road and don't venture out here into our bar yard, you are perfectly fine. You don't have to call permission. So this bottom right-hand corner, that is where that road is going to come out. This is receiving. So you're permitted to be in all of this area without having to call permission. But anything out here in this bar yard or this scrap yard, please do call ahead before you enter those areas. This top right-hand corner, this is our admin building. So again, here's that A and B bay crane up here in the top. Again, the back side of our mill. So this is our scrap yard, lots of rail, lots of scrap. So again, please ask permission before you enter those areas. And this bottom right-hand map, this is across the street at our bar straightener and bar turner number 3. This is Planters Road again. And this bar yard area is all permission entry. This left-hand photo, this is the front side of our mill. This is bay door number 1. The main entry is right here off screen, A and B bay crane. There is a light duty path. So once you pass the admin crosswalk, you would use this light duty path that comes out right here at this bottom right-hand picture. And you can use this area to get around to bar turner and straightener 2s or the PFL annex. This top right-hand corner, this is our admin building. This is our main parking lot. Again, Planters Road. And anything up here is going to be rail or scrapyard, so permission entry. Now to talk about our work permits. A preliminary risk analysis or a PRA must be completed anytime you start work at the plant. All contractor work must have a PRA. PRA must be signed off by your contractor coordinator, the area supervisor, and the communication contact. So there needs to be 3 signatures at the bottom of the second page of that work permit before any work is started. It needs to be completed for each task and also needs to be reviewed daily by each employee before starting the work. This is what our PRA looks like. JSA, permits, JSAs, all the same thing. We just happen to call ours a PRA. So this first page is just kind of the general information, who you are, what you're doing, what you're working on, the general hazards that you'll run into, the permit required hazards. If you have to select yes on any of these red boxes, that is going to trigger an additional permit, and we'll talk about more of those in a minute. This left-hand box is the PPE required for that task. And then kind of the general checklist. Does everybody understand what they're doing? Do we need a translator? So on. Emergency instructions. The second page, this is where you're going to list out all the task steps that you will be working on, the hazards associated with those steps, and then your mitigations to prevent those hazards. Everyone on the job will sign off on it. And then here are those 3 signatures from Gerdau that are required before that work is started. This is the third page. This is the environmental analysis, looking for any hazards, mitigation of hazardous waste. If there's any spills, you would record it on here, so on and so forth. Just a glance at the other permits that we have available. So this is our energized equipment permit. Maintenance would generally help you fill this out. Our hazardous chemical permit, excavation permit. This is our confined space permit. So atmospheric checks need to be done prior to and during any confined space entry. All confined space entries need to be called into security before they are entered and when you are done and closing that confined space entry. Entrance all need to be recorded here by the attendant. The attendant cannot leave that area. They need to be in control of that confined space permit at all times. Any sort of cutting or welding, anytime you're using an oxy or acetylene torch, welding, grinding, or really any spark production on site needs to have a hot work permit. This is our working at heights permit. We also have an area lifts and elevated work platform pre-use inspection. Scaffolding permit, radiation permit, critical crane lift permit. Now there is a walkway. This is again our A and B bay crane. This is that light duty path that runs with planters roads for like pickups or mules. If you did want to walk, you certainly can. Just please maintain your position in this walkway. Inside of our mill, we have what we call the Green Mile. This is the safest place you can walk. Now, you are not safe from everything. There are still cranes going overhead, forklifts coming in and out, but that is the safest location you can be. And then anytime you need to walk over our line at any point, please use a crosswalk. Talked about our pedestrian walkways, talked about our crossings. We have some 3 different crosswalks out here at our facility. Anytime there is a crosswalk, please keep in mind that the mobile equipment has the right of way. Always stop as a pedestrian and wait for that mobile equipment to pass. Mobile equipment is required to stop, honk, and then proceed through those crosswalks, but pedestrians do not have right of way at our crosswalks. Our main haul road, we ask that large equipment have right of way there, and then our light duty pickup trucks, mules, smaller vehicles will take our light duty paths that we have marked. We've talked about our permission entry areas. And then anytime you have a bay door, please do not walk through a bay door. Always use the man door next to it. Dehydration is always a possibility out here with our mill and our furnaces being so hot. A lot of people think they're acclimated to it and then suddenly they are not. So always plan ahead. We have lots of different electrolyte replacements, popsicles, things like that available. Water out here is free and available to you. Ice is free and available to you. So please don't hesitate to reach into one of our coolers or something like that. Begin hydrating before you get here. If possible, avoid alcohol consumption prior to coming here. Alcohol does increase your water loss and impairs your ability to sense early signs associated with dehydration. But when you do partake in alcohol, plan ahead and rehydrate before you return to work. Wear light-colored and loose-fitting clothing when possible. Limit the exposure time to hot temperatures if you can. Adult males need to drink about 3.7 liters per day. And then females need to drink about 2.7 liters. We have a tool called a work refusal or a safety timeout. It can be used anytime you feel that you're in a high and imminent risk situation. So if you are asked to do an activity which you don't know the risk or the risk is not controlled, if you've not been trained or don't have the appropriate equipment, the task has a high risk of accidents, so on and so forth. So what happens if you call for a safety timeout is we pause the activity, safety and the managers come out to review the activity, and then we mitigate the risk, do the training, get the equipment, whatever needs to happen to make sure that you feel safe in doing that activity. And past that, welcome to the Gerdau family. If you would like to scan this, you can take the test through this. There is also another attached QR code. If you're looking at this in an email, you're welcome to go through that. There is a test. The test does have to be completed and has to be completed with a passing score in order to be able to work out here unescorted. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Again, my name is Caitlin Lee. I'm the Health and Safety Manager, and my number is 479-206-1638. My email is Caitlin, Caitlin, .lee, Lee, at Gerdau, Gerdau.com. We appreciate you paying attention to this orientation, and welcome to our family.